Welcome, welcome, welcome to Strength by Design. We are your hosts. Myself, I am Jennifer, and I'll let your next host introduce herself.
Ooh, welcome to Strength by Design. I am Rona, your second co-host, and I'm just going to share with you what this podcast is in terms of our title, Strength by Design. Strength by Design is a show where we invite our audience, which is you, to learn how to design the quality of life that you desire, one choice at a time. I know you see three faces, so I'm going to introduce you to or pass the mic to the third beautiful smiling face that you see on your screen. Take it away.
Hey, hey. So I am the third host. I am Hope. And what are we going to be talking about today? We are going to be talking about, um, so we all know that there is a lot happening in the world right now. There's tons of things going on globally and domestically. And even with all of that influx of economy, we are hearing constant reports about financial things not going the way that we prefer them to go. Groceries are high, gas is high. I mean, you name it, and it's in our pockets, right? But the other
Mhm.
side of that coin is that people are traveling at rates never seen before. Airports are
Right.
packed, planes are full. Um, if you go out to lunch, brunch, dinner, restaurants are full. People are dining. People are shopping. They reported that Christmas had the highest sales in years. So
Mm.
what are we talking about? What's I mean, we wanted to understand why, what is the dynamic behind that, right? Are people just deciding whatever and throwing it to the wind? Are people making different choices for themselves and their future? So to kick things off, are we living like tomorrow is the end? So,
Right.
Right.
so
Ooh, you
Rona, what
This
do
is
you
couldn't.
a
think?
hot
What
topic.
what what do you think? What are you seeing? What's your take on this madness that is our that dynamic that's happening right now?
No,
And
to
we
your
definitely have
point.
a take.
Well, right. Well, right. I think like, are we living like tomorrow's not promised? I don't think that we are. At least I, I am. I don't know that many people are. To your point, travel is still up. I did a little bit of research, and the statistics show that people are planning to travel in 2026 just as much as they did in 2025. So I
Right.
know for me, my own personal take, I do feel the weight of what's happening. I do feel the
Mhm.
weight of, the bombing of other countries and how that's affecting us. I felt the weight, quite frankly, of what was happening, in Gaza, right? And so I think for me, I know that I don't necessarily share the sentiment because I'm not in the restaurants as much as I was. But, we'll get into why, for me personally, that was a decision for a number of reasons. Again, yeah, I don't think that people are hope living like tomorrow's not promised. What do you think, Jen?
What do you think?
Absolutely, emphatically not. No, we're not. We are not living like tomorrow is. It's. I think in many ways, to some degree, I think there's definitely a thought of burnout right now
Yeah.
Right.
across the globe. I mean, there's burnout right now, and
Me
that
too.
plays in to this increase of travel, this increase
Yeah.
maybe even in purchases and major purchases, or some of the economical or you know uh, well-being decisions that people are taking right now, because burnout is real. Burnout is real, and oftentimes right now many are really redefining what they want and what they feel their lives should be in this dispensation in time. Obviously, we all know that what we thought in our 20s is very different than how we thought in our
Right.
30s. And
Right.
how we thought in our 30s is very different than how we thought in our 40s. And how we thought in our 40s is different how we're thinking in our 50s right now. And I
Right.
think
Hmm.
that whole journey of redefining what that path looks like is becoming even more personal than ever before.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I feel like when you start talking about social media, right, and
Right.
and the imaging that is
Hmm.
being forced down our throat, I know that if you just gauge life based on social media, you would think that the whole world is balling out of control, right?
Right, right, right.
So there's that pressure from
Mm-hmm.
social media to travel. Like I know that you see people on the beach on Mexico. You're seeing people do things that when we were growing up, you knew some people that traveled, but it didn't feel like everybody was traveling, right?
Right,
But
Right.
social media can give the impression that you are socially not doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're not traveling,
right.
Right.
or influencers are always out to eat and
Mhm.
they're evaluating or rating the various restaurants, so you feel the need to go be a part of that experience that they're showing on social
Mhm.
media.
Mhm.
They're reviewing different shopping areas and different brands that they're wearing, so then you feel compelled to want to keep up. And so I think part of that is social media is driving some of that.
Huge.
I got to do this. I'm just to be able to keep up appearances. What
Yeah.
do you think, Rona?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and I'm likening social media hope to just the modern day television commercial,
No
right?
doubt.
It is
Hmm.
just a 24-hour, 7 day a
Yep,
week commercial.
yep,
They're
yep,
Hmm.
selling something. So if it's personally
yep.
not the ads that companies are actually marketing, then they
Yeah,
hire those influencers, which is a whole new term that wasn't even a thing.
Not
When
even
right,
a
we were
thing.
coming up, like
right,
what?
Who are you
So
influencing? Yeah.
right.
right. I influence my family, but to say that as a whole paying gig, right? So that's something that's
World
now a
has
whole
changed.
paying gig, and those people are getting paid. Young people, I mean, as early as 8, 9, 10 years old, all the way up until
Huge.
people well past our age, that are now these influencers that are being hired and paid to sell either a brand or an
Yeah.
experience,
And
right?
it's
So
yeah.
if you are in DC or if you are in Phoenix, check
Yep.
this restaurant out or
Right.
check this spa out. And I'm like overwhelmed. But there's a reason why you're still seeing that. So according to IPX 1031.com, their travel forecast for 2026 was that they communicated that people aren't traveling less, but they're traveling more cautiously and selectively due to the economic pressures that Jen mentioned, right? They're saying
Hmm.
that people
Hmm.
are choosing shorter trips closer to home, right? Focusing more on value. What
Mhm.
we're seeing is travel has evolved from a carefree splurge to more of a strategic budget conscious
Hmm.
pursuit, with people seeking maximum value and meaningful trips in 2026. So the travel is still happening. It's just happening different. People are still posting that on social media, which still continues to create the pressure
Right.
that
Yeah.
we still need to do something. We need to go out to eat, or we need to go on a trip, go on a hike, or choose even this facial beauty tip.
Right.
I just bought this
Yeah.
what is
Mhm.
it called? A lymphatic brush for my face because it's
Mhm.
supposed to just do all these
I
things.
have that too.
Girl, it's ridiculous. But the bottom line is, I think that why we're seeing it still happen is
Yep.
because equally that we're seeing on social media in terms of that experience, you're also seeing now, and we have more of a tangible reach to know what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Haiti, what's happening in all of these other
Yep.
places. So with those conflicting images coming at us, it's like, which decision do we have? Do we have the doom and gloom? I need to get my emergency kit, or do we have
Right.
I need to go and escape from all of this and take a trip? So that's
And
the
Yeah.
part that's hard for me.
Yeah.
and that's the thing, Rona, because I think right now many people are just thinking relief. I
Yes.
want relief and
Self-preservation. Yes.
self-preservation.
Yes.
And we think
Hmm.
just because although we're now in 2026, 2020 wasn't too far along.
Right.
Right.
Many people are still going through the therapy of COVID
Yeah.
and the experiences of all that COVID brought. And if we recall, massive deaths, massive
Yes.
deaths,
Yes.
massive
Yes.
deaths,
Who didn't
massive
have a family member that
who
passed?
did
Who
exactly.
didn't have a family member? I know I did. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And I
Right.
mean, I have not even to say even further. Hope I haven't even come across somebody that hasn't been impacted by
Right.
Right.
COVID in some
Right.
shape or form. And
Right.
then we were taught by our parents, save baby, save baby, save baby, save baby. But
Right.
then they saw their uncle or their brother or their sister dying at 30, dying at 40. But the
Yeah.
messaging that we got when we were younger was save baby, save baby, save baby,
Yes.
save
Yes.
for that retirement, save. But
Hmm.
we're seeing many people are seeing that many haven't even made it to that retirement. So they're really recalibrating,
Rethinking. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
rethinking how they approach life in general,
Yeah.
Yes.
how they
Oh
approach
my
life
God.
in general. And it's just a completely so when you speak about influencers, that's really what it is. What is now influencing our
The choices.
decisions and our choices today? So we have COVID, we have high divorce rates, we have single men and single women. We have a lot of dynamics going on right now. And many people are saying, I need relief and I am burnt the heck out.
No.
It even seems to be different by age groups, like
It is.
Yeah,
generations, right?
yeah,
It
Because
yeah,
when
is.
I was talking to my children and my nieces and nephews that are like in the late 20s, early
right.
30s, they aren't saving to buy their first house. That's not even
Nope.
on their radar.
No.
They are, but they definitely all have passports, and
Hmm.
they
And
definitely
stamp.
all have some trips being planned.
And they
Yeah.
got
Um,
stamps in those passports,
for
Yeah.
sure.
unlike
So they
us.
about that, like that is a necessity for them to travel and to plan trips. Um, that's not something they're willing to do without.
Hmm.
No.
So
No.
when you're talking about burnout, they've decided that is a staple part of their lifestyle right now is to travel, and that's what they're going to do. Whereas our generation, it was definitely much more save for your future, buy a house. I
Yep.
didn't know anybody. We didn't even talk about passports.
Mm-mm.
No.
That wasn't something that we talked about at
Priority.
all.
No.
My
But
household either.
this
No.
generation, they all got them.
Yep.
Listen, let me tell y'all something about
No.
the Gen Zers of it all, because both of you all are 100% correct. The same website, IPX1031.com, communicated that the when I looked up the rankings of the number of like the statistics in terms of who's traveling the most, and they ranked it by generation. And of course, as you already communicated, Hope, they said the Gen Zers are the ones that's traveling the most. I think at like
Mhm.
54%. But what
Wow.
shocked me next, I mean, well, what shocked me was who they said was right after the Gen Z, which was speaking to your point, Jen, was the baby boomers.
Hmm.
Because
Mhm.
now they're taking that money that I guess they've been saving and they've been doing more of bucket list type travel,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Mhm.
All the
Mhm.
things that they've ever wanted to do, they're now traveling to accomplish and be able to check off these bucket lists as they get, more up there in age. And again, the Gen Zers are the third on the list. We're the ones that are traveling the least of the two because I think we're the anchor generation.
Wow.
Just with
Mhm.
everything, we got to see on both sides. We got to understand what the world looked like prior to social media, cell phones being a thing. And now we're living a large part of our lives, maybe the other half of our lives, with this thing in existence. So it gives us a bit of knowledge and wisdom in terms of
Yeah.
understanding how to use it,
Yeah.
understanding the benefits of it, but understanding and knowing what we're seeing when we see what we see in terms of the influencers and all of that. So for me,
So
it's
for
like,
this next generation, is it going to be financial freedom or financial denial?
well, so
That's
I mean, they're not even thinking about it. For me, it means
Right.
for me, it's a financial fear for me because I'm just like, and we probably make more money than both sides.
yeah.
Okay,
But
that's number
there's
one.
yeah. But there's another point though. I'm gonna
Hmm.
challenge that for a bit.
Okay.
because as a mom, as I was, many people like myself, I was blessed to have a mother and a father in the home. But there are many people that were raised by
Mhm.
single parent households. Now let's sort of think about what the children saw. They saw
Right.
their mama waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go catch a train,
Yep.
coming
Yeah.
home at 6 o'clock at night, them eating cereal because mama was just too tired to cook. Or when she cooked, maybe she cooked something quick and easy, but it surely wasn't that gourmet
Right.
situation. So look at it, we're looking at it from the eyes of a child. So when that child becomes
Mhm.
an adult,
Dope.
they
Right.
start
Right.
thinking, what do I not want?
Yeah.
Right.
You
That.
may thinking,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Yep.
okay, baby, but I worked. I made sure that you had this house. I made sure you had this. I made sure you did that, baby. But mama, I never saw you.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
Mhm.
were stressed out all
That's
the
right.
time, always screaming at us, mama, daddy. I didn't get the best of things, although I saw you working 9 to 5, sometimes 7 days a week. So we may
Mm.
learn by what we hear, but oftentimes the greatest learning is by what we see.
What we
Oh,
see. Yeah.
What we
absolutely.
see. And that what we see has created this next generation of folks that are hustling, handling
Yeah.
business, don't believe in traditional.
Right.
Don't
It's just
believe in
growing up.
traditional. That
Don't
that's
believe in
that's a
traditional
No.
real.
at all.
Well, I think we can, in all of our households,
Yeah.
something that is very true is that we have and are providing a lifestyle that's different than the lifestyle that was provided for us, which would
No
then
doubt.
speak to the younger generations not having any fear, right?
Mhm.
In terms of, because we have created this safety net for them. I think in some instances, I think in our instances, we're balanced in the safety nets, but in a lot of instances, a lot of parents aren't.
That's
So
right.
they are finding themselves not traveling, not going
Mhm.
anywhere, but providing them funds for their children who are going off. And because I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. I was gonna speak from a personal standpoint, but I'm not going to because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But you know, listen, at the end of the day, I think to your point, you're 100% correct, Jen. I know that I saw my grandmother working. She also maintained a home. She also cooked, but she did the impossible. So therefore, I'm found doing the impossible. And
Mhm.
now at 52, almost 53, I'm trying to find the balance and not hold
That's
on to the dollar so tight and to be able to spend it for my pleasure because I've only been out of the country once my whole entire adult life, right? I didn't get a passport until in my mid to late 40s because
mhm.
that was not something that was discussed in the home growing up. So
Right.
again, to
Right.
your point, I didn't see it. So it was not something that for me that was at top of mind, but now in at this stage of my life, I want to experience it and I want my sons to. But what keeps me from really leaving the country is really the fear of what's happening around us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah.
It
So
definitely does.
domestic travel, right? Instead
Yes,
of
yes.
international travel
Instead of
is
international
more. Yeah.
travel,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
which is what I want to do the most. I've
Mhm.
been everywhere in the US. Could possibly want to go besides Seattle. Like, right?
Right.
We talked
Right.
about going to Seattle. I've never been to Seattle, but other than that, I've even lived everywhere I've wanted to live from a domestic standpoint.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I
So
just
It
do
think
we?
makes sense.
How does this impact? So to this train of thought that we're seeing the younger generation enjoy life more, right? Spend more of
Mhm,
their resources right now versus holding them on for later. Which I get it. Like so
I
Jen
get
just said, the
it.
burnout is real. They want to
mhm,
enjoy life. They want to relieve stress now. But how will that impact their life 20 years from now? Where are they going to be? 30 years
Yeah.
right,
from now, where are they going to
That's what
be?
right.
we thought. They're living in the moment. And
They
but
are.
really the truth though, there has to be balance because
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
ain't cute.
No,
Broke ain't
no,
cute. Broke
it's
has never
not.
been cute. And
Especially not old and broke.
not
Old and
old
broke
and
is
Man,
definitely
broke
ain't cute.
that you
or old and broken asking me for something ain't cute.
literally there has to be a balance. It can't be that we're flying by night and
Yeah,
we're living. And I think there's the balance. And I think
yeah,
maybe we could have used some balance 50 years
absolutely.
ago or 40 years ago. But I believe
Absolutely.
there's a need for some balance because right now they're seeing themselves in their 20s and their 30s. But when that
Right.
40, 50 hit and you don't have no insurance or you don't have some means to care for yourself health wise,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a roof over your head. So that landlord is telling you when you got to leave.
Yeah. So I got to bring in the real estate aspect just a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
the National Association of Real Estate just gave out the figures that the average first time home buyer age has gone up to 40. That is the average age of first
Wow.
time home buyers now. It
Wow.
used to
That
be
Wow.
explains it.
that's old, and
Yeah.
that's because younger people are spending their money in other ways. So
Mhm.
as that
Mhm.
number continues to increase, so if you're 50 buying your first house, most likely you're not going to see the equity or pay that house
That's
off or
right.
have the benefit of that in your
Right.
lifetime.
No.
Right.
Um, so
Mm.
at 40, even
That gives you
we've
something to
already
think
lost a
about.
pretty significant
Wow.
window.
Big time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you something to think about. Dang, Hope, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
think
40
I
years
think
old.
though
Wow.
I think younger people though are getting more creative, and I think that you're seeing them figure out how to have kind of both
Indeed.
in terms of the travel and a balanced
I agree.
lifestyle. When you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing again these people leave the United States. Some additional statistics that early reports for 2026 indicate record-breaking trend of Americans leaving US driven by high living costs, um, remote work flexibility, desire for better work-life balance, and additionally, the current political climate shows more people are leaving the US than entering it since the Great Depression.
Wow.
Wow.
Is
Wow.
they're calling the exodus is being dubbed the Donald Dash.
Wow.
Wow.
What do y'all think about that? Because that's across age groups. I can tell you, I have been
Yeah.
seriously researching leaving the United States for at least 4 years now. At
Mm,
least
Yeah.
4 years. And I
mm.
see that where a lot of younger people who are wanting to start families, who are wanting to still be financially sound, um, leave the
Or
country
make.
and
Mhm.
move to places like
Yeah.
Thailand and move to places like, of course, Africa, Ghana, move to places like Lisbon, in Portugal. Like so many Black Americans, especially, you see this large Black expat to the point where there's an app that's called Expat that's just all Black Americans. It's the Facebook for expats, and I'm a
Mm,
member of it.
mhm.
So you're seeing these young adults actually pull the trigger on leaving the US, where somebody like me, I'm hemming and hawing still like, oh my
Yeah.
God, can I go?
Yeah.
Should I do? Gosh, so I don't know, y'all. First of all, I can tell you, I'm glad we're having this conversation.
A huge
Yeah. Me too.
conversation. A huge
Me
It's
too.
sparking
conversation.
so much thought.
And and
Go
I
ahead,
want to
Jen.
I want to even throw another ball. Another ball.
We're gonna catch it. Throw it.
The other ball is aging parents.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, that's what I was going to say about leaving the exodus out of the country. That would be the hesitation for me. Would be my parents. I was at an event
Mhm.
the other night, and another lady was telling me that she's planning that herself. This is a sister. She was planning. She's planning, but she said that her parents are on board and all of her adult children are on
Mm.
board. So they would be
Mhm.
moving to make like a compound in Portugal. That's where
Yeah.
they're planning to
Let's
go.
see.
Um, but for me, that would be the major thing. So when you're talking about our aging parents, Jen, like I can't go nowhere and leave my
It's
parents
not.
behind here.
Nah, nah. Mm-mm. Not at all. Not at all. And then you may have some that may not have work to be able to have a retirement that
Mhm.
may need and require some financial support. So when we're
Mhm.
talking about those dynamics, we have to include the paradigm of having to support your aging parents for a protracted period of time. And then how does
Yeah.
that play in your desire to travel to Brazil and Singapore,
Right.
Yes. Right.
China,
Right.
Bermuda,
Right.
all those places? Everything's real. And how does that come together? How do we put those pieces together while we still maintain our own joie de vivre, joy of
Yeah.
Come
life,
on. Come on. Come
joie
on.
de
Wait,
vivre.
I love that.
Because I don't think the fixed income that many parents have is increasing at the same rate as the cost of living is increasing. So that becomes another complicated dynamic with affordability.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
It's like either you bite the bullet and you convince everybody. Like I love the fact that the woman that you met, everyone's
mhm,
on board. Because at first, for
Yes.
me, I don't have, unfortunately, my grandmother who raised me passed away, and my mom passed away at 59. So it
mhm,
is truly just myself and my sons to consider. And then at first they weren't on board. And now they're like, as things continue to happen here, they're like, we're ready. Like, as a matter of
mhm,
fact, my younger son is a freshman at Howard University, and he is actually looking to transfer to a school in England.
hmm,
We talked about it today, because for him, it is just the freedom to be himself, and
mhm,
not have to walk down the street and worry about his life being taken just because of who he is, right? It's
mhm.
something that he
Mhm.
cannot control. That thought, the George
Yeah,
Floyds and the Trayvon Martins, those are thoughts that run through all of our households and our minds, and how we socialize our children to be careful. I'm just tired of having to know how to train my son, that now that
right.
they're both about to be drivers. Put your hand on the dashboard, no
Yeah,
sudden
yeah,
moves. All of
yeah.
that is stressing me
Yes.
out. And again, you all know that I'm going to bring up perimenopause, and the more that
she just keep rearing her head everywhere.
girl, the
Yeah,
more
no
that she is
doubt.
a very not so much as a distant cousin anymore, honey. She is just up close and personal up
Yeah,
in my
literally,
business.
literally.
I want
Yeah,
some mental relief. And
yeah,
so, again,
yeah,
we
yeah.
probably should bring on next time an expert or something to really talk about
Indeed,
and help
indeed.
Yes.
really to navigate
Yes.
this conversation, because
Absolutely.
obviously we all have different households, but we all have the same desires, which is to be financially free, to experience the life
No
we
doubt,
deserve, and
no
also
doubt.
continue to be able to support our extended family members, and also want a life that they help to set up a life that they deserve as well,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
That's right. And I
Yeah, for
think
So,
sure.
even in that that will lend well to this conversation is the whole idea of doing for self.
oh, absolutely.
Having doing for self, being self
Absolutely.
employed. And even as we have children, no matter the age, reaffirming that concept
Yes.
of doing
Yes.
for self,
Yes.
being an
Yes. Yes.
entrepreneur. My children are
Yes.
entrepreneurs. And
Yes.
Mhm.
from that point, I mean, not having having that freedom that you can go anywhere you want to go
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
control what comes in. You
Yeah.
control your financial
Yeah.
stability. And we know right now, um, with
That's important. That's hmm
massive layoffs is real right now, especially right now.
hmm
It's
Right.
hitting every single phase of this country, whether it's tech, whether it's
Mhm.
hospitality industry, whether it's medicine, layoffs are real. How do you combat?
Mhm.
By taking
Right.
control and
Right.
having that do for self mindset.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I
For
think for
sure.
me, being an entrepreneur, I'm now positioning myself to
Mhm.
broaden, my thinking in terms of what I
That's
can
right.
do.
That's
Right.
right. Mhm. Mhm.
We have to become creative now. And so I can't help but keep having this recurring thought of getting to an island and having a
Right.
little farm, and just be selling my little cucumbers. And
Mhm.
because again, I what we think in terms of being able to, what poor is, the idea of poor, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
idea of wealth, is different in other places than it is here.
Right.
Right? And
Mhm.
so it might just mean that we might have to just go and travel and
Mhm.
do some real research, right? And then figure it out, and then essentially slowly begin to make the steps. because I want to be, I
Yes.
want to look like y'all. I want to have a nice little almondy glow to my skin every day and not be in winters, experience wind chill factors, right?
Mhm.
Experience, snow and ice. And I don't,
I
my
get
body
it.
can't take it. Yeah.
I get it. I get it. And I love that for you. And I love that for all of us,
Yeah.
That
happiness.
possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
happy and taking
But what I
control.
loved about what you said though, Rona, is the research part.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Because just looping back to the social media part, you can believe that places are something that they're really not, because that's another thing. Like you can
Right.
see somewhere and be like, "Oh, that place is amazing," and I see people they're on the beach and they're doing all these things, but that may not necessarily be the reality. So there's that balance,
that's
Right.
right.
in today in
I love that.
understanding what's real
Right.
from what the
The
perception
perception
is and
is,
what's being
yep.
pushed on
Mhm.
social
Cosmetics.
media. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for
I
sure.
agree.
Mhm.
Well, all
So
right,
to
ladies.
wrap this up,
Hmm.
do we see balance? How does balance get accomplished with what we've talked about, that
Mm.
we know people are doing, living for today and enjoying life right now, but also not leaving themselves in a vulnerable position later in life? How does that balance get accomplished? Is it possible?
I think it is. I think it's possible. I think it's you're starting to see the turn, as we saw in the research, that people are changing in terms of how they're,
Mhm.
taking trips. They're not doing the big splurges, but they're being
Right,
smart.
Right.
Taking
right.
shorter trips closer to home,
Mhm.
having more meaningful trips, right? In terms of the places that they're choosing to go to. We're seeing baby boomers do list trips. That doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that you have to leave the country. You can jump out of a plane right in Florida, like you can in the Cayman Islands, right?
Right.
I think
Right.
for
Good point.
me,
Mhm.
what I need to do is, because I feel imbalanced. I feel like I have to save
Mhm.
every dime and be
Yeah,
able to create a retirement
of course.
space for myself as an
Of course.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that means I go nowhere, right? From
Mhm.
an international standpoint. So I think that for me, I have to increase my faith
Mm.
and my
Mm.
belief in God that I can become balanced in that space, not necessarily being reckless with spending money, but also not be so tight fisted, where I have no experiences, knowing and having a faith
Mm.
that God is with me,
That's right.
always,
That's right.
and that I giving myself grace
Yes.
to
Yes.
say, "Hey, you can afford to go ahead and spend a couple of dollars on going somewhere, Rona. Like it's okay, as
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
as I've done all my checks and balances.
Yeah.
It's okay to pull the trigger. And even if I decide once a year, right, then you have that thing to look forward to once a year, and it helps you to get through the day to day. That's what I think.
Mhm.
For sure.
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
you think, Jen? How is balance accomplished?
I love what you said, Rona. I love, 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 love what you said. Um, I believe also it's about believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
trusting that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
An easy thing is to get a check and blow it. That's really easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
The difficult thing is discipline, to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
The challenging thing to do is to think ahead, not just in the moment, but look farther ahead and then check yourself, see what your gifts are and find ways. Because I personally believe that every single business is connected to your gift. So take
Absolutely.
the time to find
Mm-hmm.
where your gifts
Mm-hmm.
lie, where your
Mm-hmm.
talents lie, and then find some opportunities to make money for yourself and create that
Hmm.
freedom. And I think that would even help in depression
Yeah.
because I think depression is or that sense of burnout
Mm-hmm.
helps when we see ourselves growing,
Hmm.
stretching. So trust in the process and not being complacent. That's what I would say.
Nice. What
I
about?
think there's going to be some going back to like multi generational
Right.
family living that's going to influence some of these ways, cost saving measures too.
Big time.
Mhm.
There's a huge increase of multi generational new construction homes being built.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, that
I
way,
love that.
families can pool their resources.
Mhm.
And when you start talking about burnout, I know some of the burnout is also from that single parent dynamic. But when
No
you
doubt.
bring in the
Mhm.
retired, grandmother and grandfather that can help support some of that and give
That's
some time
right.
and space for that single mom. So
That's right.
all the benefits of multi generational living, I think,
I
is
love
going to
that.
be more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
And it's already very prevalent in some communities, but I think more communities are going to embrace that
Yeah.
concept
Big time.
Mhm.
to
Big
increase
time.
the quality of life. Hmm.
Big
Yeah,
time.
I'm
Ways
100% open to that. I'm always promoting compound living because,
no
again, I
doubt.
don't have the grandparents, or the extended family. So I'm always trying to
Right.
adopt, parents and grandparents and
Mhm.
families for my sons and myself to be able to, of like mind, right? It's
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
important of like mind.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
Ladies,
love
this
that.
is another fabulous show, I think. Like I'm
Indeed.
so full.
Indeed.
I got so much out of this topic.
I did too.
My prayer is that our audience did too. So we want to thank them. We want to thank our audience for tuning in
Thank
to our
you.
show. Thank y'all.
Absolutely.
Again, this is episode what? 2?
Two.
Yes.
Oh
Hmm.
my gosh. Ladies, we are
Another one
doing
in the books.
everything.
Yep. Yep.
Another one in the books. Okay,
That's
so
right.
please follow us on all of our social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at what is it? Strength by Design
Yes.
Podcast. That
That's
is our
right.
Podcast.
handle at Strength by Design Podcast. And then please subscribe to our YouTube channel with the same name at Strength by Design Podcast. That's where you're going to see all of our clips. You're going to see the full episodes. And then hopefully we will get to 1 million followers.
That's
And
right.
then we'll really be able to go wherever the heck we want to go. I was going to say something else, but
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
fasting from using
Co-sign that.
profanity on Ramadan. So
Ladies, I was just getting ready to say before we cannot wrap this episode up without saying Ramadan Mubarak and saying blessed
Indeed.
Ramadan to all of our family
oh,
and friends who are
Exactly.
participating and honoring Ramadan this year.
Absolutely.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you
Absolutely.
for that, Hope. All
Absolutely.
right, you all. Until next time. Peace.
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 Take care.